Since the time when the custom element has been introduced online, has been some changes. So we do started to support some extra things which allows you to use the external modules, and they right now support import maps, which is allowing to do the multi-page development using this technology. So this showcase will be about how to implement one of the libraries or multi-page application using custom elements. So I will start with the my initiative, which I try to bring some attention to this library by introducing material design into the formula of using the custom elements. So material design is a very popular library, not library, but rather concept. It's user interface based, and I took the Angular material as example, whether and how difficult it is to implement something like this using custom elements. And I was very surprised during the experiments that amount of code which is necessary for a single element in our system using declarative custom elements and in JavaScript is just level of magnitude different. If you take a look into the one of the components which we created on material design, you will see how easy to consume them, but you also will be very surprised how easy to write them as well. The menu, for example, comprises of mostly the styles, but if you will exclude, there is almost nothing except of one slot which will be populated here. So instead of the programmatic defining of the components, we will be able just to define a little structure, proper parameters, and everything else will be implemented by the styling. And if you will take a look in the examples of the menu, they could be very simple, but also have some additional properties. In this case, like disable component, then vertical versus horizontal menus, and of course, you can customize them inline. All of that is available on the GitHub, and you will be able to take it as an example or use it on CDN. Since we introduced the custom elements, I've been trying to use no packaging deployment where possible. So the all code is currently available through the CDN, and we will be able to create your own components or pages, not deploying anything to anywhere. So your code will rely on what we deployed in CDN itself instead of bringing dependency, which is also possible because it's published as an NPM module. So back to the code which we wrote. There is only a few components right now available, and among of them, back to the material design. So it is available online through the unpackaging, and deployment is available over here. When I do the development of the inline code for the components is also available online through the unpackages. The menu which you saw before shown inside of the HTML demo element, and the sources which you see here generated by the component which has been also deployed on unpackaged. So we for making collaboration between different applications do not need to rely anymore on the complex dependency management systems. Rather, we can go online and do everything there. going back to set of the components which we are trying to show, here the menu, which I tried to highlight, has like multiple capabilities. So the basic concept that everything should be available for development, doesn't require JavaScript, and all usual means of HTML is exposed to you. So in here, you see that the basic things like disabled or hyperlinks used directly from this list. And as a result, you're also able to do some inline styling. So if you don't like the appearance of material design, which is provided out of the box, you will be able to put your own custom styling here. But in addition to the normal styling, it uses the semantic theming. And what is semantic theming in this case? It starts with the CSS, which is on theme, and it goes to the palette first. So we do have the different material design palettes, and you will see there are like many of them. So you can able to pick any of those palettes by yourself, whatever is more convenient. But once you pick the color for your branding, then you want to bring it alive. And that's where semantics theming is shining, because you will be able to provide the series of the states for your components. And those components usually have very strict relation between the properties which you're using. And in the example above, we're using the menu. So in here, if you will want to override particular item colors, you will be able to do it instead of inline in the component itself. You will be able to do it through this overwriting of semantic variable in the scope you like. It could be on page level, it can be on the individual component level, or for series of components in your scope. So in this case, the style is defined outside of semantic menu, but it is still inside of the this container as a custom element. And in this case, if you heard of the scoped registry, it serves like insulation scope. So the style defined here inside of custom element will not go outside, but will be applicable for two of those components, both of which are separate menus. All right, semantic theming meant to be supporting multiple different appearances, even for the same component. So eventually we have plans to implement different theming, and that will be available through the runtime switch and detection of the light or dark theme, which is of your choice on your computer. It's also about accessibility, not about the pleasure. Because the most of the components in here are defined through the normal HTML, they also are highly compliant with the browser native capabilities to use access navigation. So if I'm going to go through the tabs over here, I'm doing the keyboard navigation as of now, as well as the mouse one. Menu is fun, but another fun is the piece which is belong to the links with which looks like a buttons. You will see them on the top over here, but also they kind of show there is a showcase for different variations. So instead of picking one particular choice of the image providers, I thought, okay, why not to put all of them available? So you can put the SVG or PNG of your choice, or you can pick a material icon or phantasm. So instead of the picking one site, like material design did with their own set of the icons, you can pick them on their website, and there is a bunch of them, of course, but definitely is not sufficient. What you will do if this icon is not there? So the answer would be custom element, and in this particular case, it's the icon link component, which has ability to recognize what icon you will working with. The rules are pretty simple to write, and in this case, icon link gives you the very simple showcase on switching between them. You're perhaps very familiar with XSLT, so if there is no prefix XSLT, it will be generated out, but otherwise it's very similar. So in HTML, choose when and test works in the same fashion. So this actually explains very simple. If something starts with the slash, it will be treated as an image or contains. So it means it's a path. If it starts with FA, then it will be the font awesome, and otherwise it will be treated as material icons. And in example, you will be able to see how it's reflected. So in material icons, you can choose any of them. They will be propagated to the class names in line. And there is no special tools necessary to work with those data, because we have ability to see them directly as they will be generated in HTML, and it is actually our component. So in this case, you see this icon has been has a class which is transferred from the attribute to the another attribute, which is class, and that helps us to create the correlation between the icon and its implementation. Only one line of code is necessary for that. So it's a beauty of declarative programming, and in the same time, it's very big power. For now, we have only a few components implemented, as I mentioned, and have big plans to actually have it working. Well, there is some work in progress, unfortunately, so you cannot see them. Drop downs, not here yet. So let's assume that only the icon link and menu are ready. The whole target will be to cover the whole set, which is quite big. And I'm working in my spare time, which means there is not much time to dedicate to this pattern. But so far, I'm very happy with the speed of my nighttime kind of contribution to this initiative. And I think that till the end of year, we will have a gentleman's set of components which will be sufficient to work with and embed into the real life applications. So things which are deployed here locally on my machine, at the same time, they will be available online unpackaged, and you can go to the GitHub repository to get idea how it is done on one side. But if you like it, you can reuse it as a library, online library, or installed onto your machine. So far, any questions? Okay, I couldn't hear the audience for some reason. Right. Let's continue. So this was a simple stuff which we been talking about. Now we can deep dive into what happened behind of the scene and how we can make the multi-page and reuse components between those pages. The structure of the whole application would require the bootstrap of HTML, which definitely would comprise the set of the libraries which you can want to use, and in this case, it's a font libraries. Or you want to include the several JavaScripts which is belong to this particular custom element. So the heart of the everything is custom element JavaScript, and then there are several component elements which is necessary to make it more dynamically used across multiple pages. So among of them is module URL. That is a thing which is allows to convert the import maps to the links which you will consume. Then we do have the local storage. Well, it is a browser local storage. It does have the runtime capability to do the HTTP request if you want to do some processing of data, and then finally showing up the part of it through the XSLT. Then one other piece is each application most likely will have some common styles. So you would like to add the generic material design. So in this case, palette from the Angular, then material semantic variables. And finally, if you do have your own kind of styling for your application, you want to keep it in its separate CSS. Now about the page structure itself. So the page itself is has like several things inside, and one of them is a local definition of your components. So instead of having them somewhere in the middle of the page, because they're not shown, I'm using they're using templates as the base for your components. So in this case, icon link is a template which going to be shared across multiple pages. So icon links, for example, is used by the components page itself, and the import of this element looks very primitive. So you do the custom element with the tag, well, in this case, icon link. And for magic reason, I duplicated it, so we're going to remove. So the import into the page will look like the source pointing to the hyperlink outside, and it's inside of icon link HTML as template with ID of semantic icon link. Once we managed to import everything we needed to the page, now we can serve the page content, of course. And in this case, the header, which is another component, it goes directly from the index HTML. The difference from the previous import that it will insert the content directly in this location into header. There is no tag involved, HTML tag, I mean, to insert the content of the navigation head from the index. What is navigation head in this case? That's another template which goes to the top of the page on the over here. So that's the those series of hyperlinks on the top. But why it is interesting to us? Because it resides on the level of the document structure on the very top, and then reused from inside of subfolders. So when we want to reuse this header, we will use a relative path to it. And there is two choices. So you can use just the relative path, or you can use module name with import maps in similar fashion as you working with JavaScript. Import map gives you the symbolic name associated with particular module. The samples of those modules are going through the module URL. I'm going to search module URL, and you will see the examples how they can be used. So in this case, if you want to put your image or another hyperlink to a page which is related to something, you can use this module URL, define the base, and then use the relative path inside of this base through the variables which is available through the so-called slice. Slice is very things which I been talking about in previous XML meeting on the Prague. So you can go back to it or just go to the definitions how to use custom elements in the custom element demo. There is like quite a lot of information how to use external templates, how to use import maps, or how to use advanced features of XSLT. Now back to navigation and page creation. So the all pages template in this case doesn't exist because it's pretty rudimentary, but things like the generic styles for heading and footer better to be reused. So things like the Hugo page static site generator perhaps will be good choice, and they're supposed to work together pretty well. As of now, I do have a plan to create static site generator using custom elements. So it will reduce the amount of code you will write on one side, but at the same time, it will be way more convenient to deliver the content. All right. Any question on the HTML related structures? I'm not sure whether you can hear me, but let's go ahead one more time. Different components, the complex relation between different elements, the complexity of XSLT, I try to hide as much as possible. And that's the difference between the platforms, because here you will be working mostly in HTML terms, which is very familiar to the even non-developers. Things like template, which you already seen, the HTML and custom elements, those are in vocabulary of normal HTML developers, so you do not need to have anything special in terms of the knowledge of consumption. Of course, if you want to do the advanced things, you will go into the XML, XSLT, and try to discover what's going on with your component. The way you're doing it could be done through the plugin to the browser, which is dedicated for transformation. So every component, in this case, well, we have the menu component, and hyperlink has the data DOM associated, and it starts with the view model driven development, and our view model has attributes which are passed to the HTML component. Then it has the payload, which is our set of the elements which is passed to it, and also the slices, data slices, which we've spoken about. If you like to discover what will be done by the browser itself and do the deep dive on the debugging of why something is not rendering, the XML, when you do the copy string content, is available for you. So in your favorite IDE, you can paste it and, well, of course, reformat and try to explore what's going on here. So in this case, I copied XML, but there is also XSLT, which does generate it. And whole thing is kind of self-explanatory if you're familiar with XSLT syntax. But again, this is only necessary when you want to do the debugging and not the normal development.